Hello everyone, myself is Sagar. Welcome back to another video. We are solving SQL 15, the lead code. So far we have solved 9 questions in this. Today we'll be seeing the next question, that is average time of processing per machine. Let's see the question, what it says. We have a table called as activity, and these are the columns, that is machine ID, process ID, activity type, and timestamp. The table shows that user activity for the factory website. The machine ID, process ID, and activity type is a primary key. That's a combination of the column will give a unique value. So what it means that, let's see here, machine ID, process ID, and activity. The combination of these three gives us a unique records. Machine ID is the ID of a machine, and the process ID is the ID of processing run on the machine with ID machine ID. Okay, so it means that the machine ID is machine ID per machine, and process ID, if it start per one machine, if it starts, it gives us a one ID here. For start and end, there is one ID. Next, activity type is a enum category and of type start and end. Timestamp is a float representing the current time in seconds. The start means the machine starts for the process at the given timestamp, and end means the machine ends the process at the given timestamp. Okay, the start timestamp will always be before the end timestamp for every machine ID and process ID pair. Okay, it is guaranteed that each machine ID, process ID pair has a start and end timestamp. Okay, so what it means that for each machine ID we have a process ID. If it starts, then we have one process ID until it ends. So for one machine ID, see, machine ID 0, it started 0, activity start, and the timestamp which had started, and at the timestamp which it has ended. Now again the same machine has started, so that time there is a new process ID, start, what time, and end. Now this is the second machine. Now this was particularly one set of machine which had one start and one stop for the time of process ID 0, and again one start, one end at process ID 1. Now when we go to the another machine, there is again same thing. Another machine, there is again same thing. So we have three different types of machine IDs. Now what we have to do, there is a factory website that has a several machine, each running the same number of process. Okay, that's what we see. Write a solution to find the average time each machine takes to complete a process. So we have to find the average time. That means, so we have to find the average time. That means 0 when machine ID 0, when it was a process ID 0, it has taken some time, right? There is some average. And if same machine ID, again it takes some time for start and end. Now average of these two we need to do. That's what it says. For each machine. For each machine we have to find out. Okay. The resulting should have machine ID along with the average time as a processing time, which should be rounded to 3 decimal. We can make use of round here. Round function we have to do to round it from decimal to 3 decimal place. Now let's see what is the output. See here, we have a machine ID 0 and average processing time. So let's see how we can do this. For explanation, you can see there 3 machine each having 2 processing each. So for 0, the average time will be this minus of this, okay, plus this minus of this divided by number of time the process ID had. That's why it was 2. Okay, that's what it says. Now after this we get some average. Now how we can solve this? So to solve this, what we can do is we can make use of joining the same table, and we can pass the on condition in such a way that we can perform the average. We can perform and find the average timestamp. So to do that, let me copy this and let's go to Excel and see how we can do this. Okay, now let's consider this has activity 1, and we'll take again same table and we'll say this has activity 2. Now what we have to do, we have to minus this, right? So from this activity 1 table, what we can say, let's take as a machine ID, machine underscore ID from this table, and what we can join, since the uniqueness will come from the combination of these three, that is machine ID, process ID, and activity type, we have to make a on condition in such a way that these three conditions are satisfied. So what we can say that from first table, let's take a start. Wherever we'll make a condition such that we'll get here as a start date, start type, and at the second we'll get the end. Now we got this combination. Now what we'll do, this minus of this we'll do, and then we'll just make use of average, and we do group by of what, these things. grouped by a machine ID. If we do that, we get an average of these two things, right? So to do that, what we have to do, we are joining this, and on condition, we will take this machine A1 of machine ID underscore machine ID is equal to A2 dot machine ID. Now this was one condition. Next condition will be what? Process ID. Next will be A1 dot process ID equal to A2 of process ID. Next will be the type. This will get an activity type, right? So what we can do from here, from the table one, what we need? We need start time. So we can say where A1 dot activity type underscore type equal to start here, and from here we can say A2 of activity type is end. So at that time, what we get? We get like this. The one record we get here, and then what we do? This, let's suppose this will be like A2 dot timestamp be there. So here it will be A1 dot timestamp. Okay. Now we'll be minusing this minus of this, and then we'll put average on top of that. So then after putting average, now this minus this. We'll put this minus of this. You can say minus this minus of this. And on in front of this, we can put as average. And then we can again what? We have to round off it. That's it. Round to what? 3 decimal they have asked. So up to 3 decimal. This is what we have to do. So let's go and see, write a query for this solution and see how it comes. So what we have to do, select A1 dot what? Machine ID. From first, we'll take A1 dot machine ID. Let's come to processing at the end. Let's see how we can select from the activity table. From what's the table name? That is activity A1 join. Since it's an inner join, activity of A2 on. On what condition I said? What condition I said? I had said the condition should be A1 of machine process activity, and then activity from start and activity from end. So what we'll say? We'll say A1 dot machine ID is equal to A2 dot machine ID and A1 dot what? Process ID equal to A2 dot process ID and A1 dot activity type. A1 dot activity type should be what? Start, right? Should be start. Let's take it as start, and A2 dot activity type equal to end. Okay. Now we had this thing, right? Now what we have to do? We have to do processing. So what we can do? We'll say is what's the output we require? Processing time as processing time, where what we are doing? We are minusing A2 dot timestamp minus A1 dot timestamp, and we are again doing average of this, and we are what doing again? Round function for this, comma 3 to this. Okay. If we let me make it down. Okay. So you can see here. So what we are doing, this minus this we are doing, and whatever we'll get one value, and again for this minus this will come, we'll get one value. But what? One more thing is missing, but we have to do, this will come for whole table. Now if we do, but what we have to do based on the machine ID we have to do. For each machine ID, we have to do the grouping, right? So what we can do by machine ID, A1 dot machine ID. Okay. Now let's run this. Yep, here that the case is satisfied. So, and we got a result. There is another solution for this, where what we can do is, instead of going activity, let me comment it out. So instead of going as an activity, we can take timestamp also. What it does, we have to take like A2 of timestamp, that is second table timestamp. Whatever the timestamp is there for second table should be greater than the first table timestamp. That time it will come as, since end date time will be always greater than start, right? So at that time, what it will come? This minus of this it will come. So we can go in that. So let me write that query, and what we can say, A1 dot timestamp, or we can say A2 of timestamp is greater than A1 timestamp. So let me run this. Yeah, you can see as accepted, and we get the same result as accept. I hope you like this video. Do like and share this video if it was useful. We'll continue the series, and I'll see you in the next video. Thank you.